Sanan, hello. Who's here?
Sanam Siri Gian, this is Rahmane, and Tomas is...
Hi, dear one. Glad to hear you. I got a little note from Hadi Munder that she came to see you all.
Oh, yeah. That was
and
lovely.
Then she got a book. I just got home, so I haven't had time to look at it, but I really appreciate it.
It's Tomas's book, the book of Tomas's writings that we put together.
How precious. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Welcome.
Who else is here?
This is Lucinda.
Lucinda, you're on.
I'm on.
Welcome, dear. Do you get the newsletter?
I have been getting the newsletter.
Okay, good. So you saw that your name was on one 2 weeks ago.
Actually, no, I didn't.
You didn't?
I saw that it was on back when I was in prison.
Well, that's good. No, actually, that teleclass, I call that one Lucinda's Journey, and then I asked people to listen to it, how can I say, your most amazing, from the heart discussion with us. We appreciate it.
Well, maybe you could send that to me again.
Okay.
I don't know that I got that one then.
Okay. I think it was, I think in the headline it didn't have your name, but it had it somewhere in there, but I'll find it. Okay. Who else is here? Lucinda, let me ask you one more question. How is the case going? Are they trying to, you have one more step. Is that done?
Yes, on Monday, the original charge, the false accusation, was dismissed. It was dismissed.
That is great.
Yeah.
So you're out forever.
I'm out forever.
Oh, God, that is so wonderful.
I'm out forever.
Did they give you anything for that?
Oh, no. And, in fact, they added insult to injury. They wrote that I shall surrender my teaching license, my teaching credential.
But if they said it was a false accusation, why would they do that?
Well, they did a plea agreement, a statutory plea, and they charged me with a lesser charge of harassment.
Oh, brother.
Saying that by doing a healing tap, a Qigong healing tap on her manubrium when I disciplined her.
Oh, my gosh.
That was offensive to her.
Where did you tap her?
On her upper manubrium, the PTSD, when you have PTSD and are going through Qigong healing for PTSD, the upper point that's between the throat chakra and the heart chakra, and it's above the lungs, it's above the breasts, it's on the upper manubrium, it's above the breasts, it's not on an intimate or sexual part of the body.
Oh, are you talking about the breastbone?
Yeah, but it's the upper part of the manubrium. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the part that's a PTSD kind of like a sub chakra. That in Tibetan, ancient Tibetan healing, that's the point that's connected with the lungs, and then it's also then connected to the heart. So that when people are afraid, if they've ever gone through trauma in their life, and they grasp on, they tighten all their muscles and are afraid, that's the point where the fear is still within all of the memory in the cells for PTSD. Because they take a breath and they go, and they hold their breath when they're afraid. And when I was taught many years ago in New York City, I went to the Dance Notation Bureau and had coursework in dance therapy to become a dance therapist. I wanted to become certified as a dance therapist, and my bachelor's work was dance therapy, and they taught this old Qigong method of you take the right hand middle finger and tap, very lightly just on that point, and it unblocks the meridian of energy that's flowing, the chi energy, that unblocks it, and everything flows. And but it also releases, if somebody's been through trauma, it can release the trauma, and there can be transference of whatever their trauma was.
Oh my gosh!
So,
you think that's what happened?
I believe that's what happened. I think that's possible. I don't know what trauma she suffered in her life, but something was very wrong and troubling in her life, so that she was hurting. She was hurting the other children, and I needed to intervene, and I wanted to discipline in a less than punitive way. I wanted to be helpful to her and healing to her. It was very clear that she was stuck in her head and was not well, and that she needed to be connected. And I know that in ancient Sanskrit it says that we are the channel between heaven and earth. And I just knew that she would get out of her head if she was brought and grounded energetically. And I just knew that was the point that needed to be tapped. So spiritually, I knew that this would be the best intervention for her, and it would protect the rest of the children, because she was lashing out and hurting the other children in the classroom. And I made a choice that it was kind of a, do I let her continue to hurt the other children, or do I go ahead and I intervene? And my job as a teacher was to intervene and help and make sure the other children were safe too. But if I was going to do that, I needed to discipline her in a way that was healing to her and helpful to her. And the least amount of physical contact that could possibly be, and not punitive in nature, but healing in nature. And so...
Well, let me ask you, if you had to do it all over again, would you do the same thing?
I've asked myself that. And the bodhisattva part of me says that as long, as sentient beings endure, may I too continue to endure and exist to help others and to alleviate suffering. And so there's a part of me that will be a good Samaritan all my life. And I believed at the time that it was it was impossible to contact her parents at that moment to ask permission. But since then, I have learned, when I was in prison, I learned from my Qigong certification teacher that you never are to touch anyone without their permission or tap for healing without their permission. And so,
and
I learned that.
I always have the parent in the room.
Right, and so that was the choice that I had made wrongfully, in that I had not contacted her parents first before the healing, and I believed that I needed to intervene in loco parentis, which is what the school laws say, that you are justified and it's not criminal to do so in loco parentis because that's your job as a teacher. And yet, for healing purposes, clearly she was confused. What I did caused her to possibly have feelings of confusion. And so that less than 1.5 second tap on her manubrium did unblock her. It was, to her perception, probably like a lightning bolt, because she described it on the stand as kind of looking like a lightning bolt going through her. And that was just a less than 1.5 second tap on her manubrium with the one little fingertip, my middle fingertip.
Wow.
But
very powerful.
Well,
but now
but at what cost? Yeah. And but the sad part about that is that when someone does need to intervene to help someone who is in the midst of, some mental confusion and hurting other children, and was I wrong to have done that as the intervention? Well, the school and the judge and the DDA said yes, that I should not have done that without parent permission. And yet sending her to the office would not have healed her, would not have helped her, and she would have come back and not changed her attitude, not changed her and would continue to hurt the other children. She would have continued to harm the others. So it was
maybe
a difficult.
In the future, maybe after you send her to the principal's office, after you finish school, maybe you can just call the parent and ask if you could do that.
Well, that's what I tried to do, actually, was I tried to get a hold of the parent's phone number and address to be able to tell them about, what had happened that day. But the people had gone home very early that day at school. The principal had locked everything up tight. That was a school where people didn't stay to help the children, and they didn't stay long after, and everybody locked up shop and went home, and I was the only one there with the custodian's cart.
Oh, my gosh.
So I actually had tried to follow up with that. And then I'd written a 14-page documentation for special ed referral for an emotionally disturbed, behaviorally disordered classroom for this kid so that they would be able to get an observation and a referral for some help for her because no one had helped her before. And she needed documentation for special ed that she was having emotional problems and was troubled and needed to have people come in and observe her and then refer her for a special education classroom and get help. Anyway, she didn't get that help. And I was attempting to help her, but I did it in the wrong way, in the wrong order. I can see that. And so the order wasn't right. The desire to help was right, but the order wasn't right.
That's right.
So that's why I've also realized I'm only a bodhisattva in training.
Yes, that's a very good realization. Okay, well, we certainly are glad to have you with us, dear, and no more threats. God bless you, and you have certainly learned your lesson well, hey, right?
Well, I hope that somehow the message of being sure that you have permission first gets across to people. It was a big lesson for me.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Thank you, dear. Thank you. Okay. So now, who else is here?
This is Hadi Munder.
Hi, Hadi Munder. Welcome.
Hey, I'm in Wyoming, and I have a request from a man I met in the airport coming here whose family had all been killed in Sudan, and he really wanted prayers and heart breath for Sudan when it comes to that point.
Okay, we will do that. Is he Sudanese?
Yes.
Okay, we will definitely do that. And I think we will go ahead and get started now. We are welcoming everybody. Even though we don't know all your names, we are still welcoming everybody. Okay, God bless you. So palms together, center of the chest. Long, deep breath. Long, deep breath. Good. And now inhale to begin, relaxing at the brow point. Om. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Sangare Namah, Shivagare Namah, Sagare Namah, Sirigare Namah, Agare Namah, Shivagare Namah, Sagare Namah, Sirigare Namah, Agare Namah, Shivagare Namah, Sagare Namah, Sirigare Namah. Long deep breath. Good. And now please begin heart breath. And that is long, deep breath. But on the exhale, feel as though the air is coming out of your heart center. Good. Feel that expand. Feel the coziness. Feel the beauty of it. And now please send this beautiful heart breath to everybody in our circle. Really come together. Really meld. Become one heart. Good. And now we are sending our heart breath, our healing heart breath to everybody who needs it. And according to Hari Mandir's request, we are very happy to send it to Sudan and all those people who have suffered there. All of the people who have suffered. And at the same time, let's send it to Syria, who's still in deep trouble, as well as the whole Mideast. And, of course, the U.S. elections. So keep up your heart breath. Good. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Oh, Baba Siri Chand is here. Oh, he's hugging each and every one. I love it. He's hugging each and every one. Just feel your hug with him. He says, oh, my dear ones, this is the most important. He says, don't you feel my hug all the time? He says, feel my hug through each and every person that you come to. He says that normally you might blast the person. You can blast anywhere from a very easy degree, he says, until a huge atomic blast. In other words, you could get really, really mad as someone who has done you wrong or who has done others wrong. He says that's an infinitesimal. That is Huge. That's a huge blast. He says that's what happens when war happens. He says, but don't forget that Guru Gobind Singh fought war still from his heart. Don't forget that. He says it was an absolutely defensive war. He says, on the other hand, he says there are people that you may not like, that you might find icky to be around, that you might find them not in your, he says the easy word is not in your social position. He says the more difficult reality is, would you like to be, what would you feel if you were in a dirty home, if you were in the home of a very poor person? What if you were in the home of a very arrogant person? He says, send them heart breath now. He says, how else are they going to heal? He says, there are ways, over time, yes, each with their own Savior, yes. He says, but, he says, this heart breath is your unequivocal healing ability. It's more like your healing privilege. And Lucinda, he's also saying you don't need permission to do heart breath. Mm-hmm. So this will be a help to all of us. Yes. Keep up your heart breath. And he says your points, Lucinda, are very well taken, and it was a primary lesson for all of us, so he is appreciating that. He says, okay, today we are talking about the big hug for the big earth. Big hug for the big earth. He says, continue to feel that big hug for the big earth. He says, do you feel Mother there? That is Mother Planet, Mother Nature, Mother Earth? He says, do you feel that? He says, when you hug this beautiful planet, you are hugging Mother. He says, now you know that you cannot have any judgment about up or down, in or out. He says, you cannot have it. He says, you have discernment. You have discernment when you tap into me, when you tap into your soul. He says, you do not discriminate or judge from what you have been told, what are your likes or your dislikes, and so on. He said, no. He says, like Lucinda said, this is our bodhisattva training. And the bodhisattva doesn't worry about up or down, in or out. Mm-mm. He says, this is the real meaning of the word compassion. Compassion doesn't mean that you simply serve and be kind to your social class, to the people that you think are fine. Maybe you give a couple of dollars to the homeless guy on the street. He says, real compassion is being present, being absolutely present in the light of what you want to, however you want to call it, in the light of the Guru, in the light of soul, in the light of infinity, as it shines through this earth apparatus that Mother Planet provides for us. That is all of creation and all of our demeanor. He says compassion. Compassion is the will of the infinite as it flows through you. It is the will of the infinite as it flows through you. So, as you are given to respond to a need, he says you let it flow through you. You let the solution flow through you. Sometimes you will be held back because no solution is appropriate at that time. He says it is letting down the barriers of your own feeling icky or not, or creepy or annoyance, and letting the infinite to flow through you. He says, now I also want to tell you that as you do this, you are not letting down your boundaries. That is, for another person to come at you aggressively, passive-aggressive, or in any way come in to, he says, to annoy or to harm you. He says, no. He says, those boundaries are still important. But remember, this is incoming. Incoming is where you set the boundaries. Outgoing, you let flow this outpouring of light. This outpouring of light. This, as you are guided, you allow the physical needs or other needs to be supplied through you as you are guided. As you are guided, not through your judgment, but as you are guided through your soul, through me, through anyone. He calls it any one of your Savior buddies. He says that is the guidance that you seek. That is the guidance that you follow. Keep up your heart breath, please. He says, okay, now pick out one person, the most recent person, that you have found most annoying. It could be a movement. It could be the other political party. It could be anything that you have found to be annoying. And when that happens, it takes over your energy. It takes over, he says, it takes over your ridicule. It takes over your lack of understanding about what the big picture is. He says, now, please send your heart breath. Please send your heart breath to that person, to that situation. As you do that, he says, please let down your judgment. Please let down your judgment. He says, please be kind and respectful. He says, hold your center. Hold your center. And do this from your center. Again, you are not overstepping your bounds with them. You are being very respectful, and allowing this beautiful heart breath to move through them. From you through them. He says, feel yourself opening up. Feel your glance. Allow your glance even to carry this healing ability, this healing property. He says, not doing it in a haughty way, not saying, oh, I'm so great, I can do this. No. He says to join most humbly. To join most humbly with the light that flows to what we think of as the other person. Remember, Yogi Bhajan told us the other person is you. So, it comes down to, why would you block that aspect of you? Keep up the heart breath. Let your judgments, let them melt. Let them melt. Feel the preciousness. Feel the kindness. It is kindness that heals. Even if you have to make boundaries, it is a kindness in all directions. Even if you have to shout at the other person to make yourself heard, that's okay. Remember, Guru Gobind Singh, actually in war, he was an expert archer, and remember he put gold on the arrow so that anybody he killed in battle, his family would have enough money to bury him properly. Do you understand? The opposition was trying to kill and totally wipe out anybody who did not follow their religion. And yet, Guru Gobind Singh could do this. He didn't. Allow your patience to come forth. Allow your openness to be present. Allow your greatness. This is your greatness. Your greatness, you know, he says, you know where to find your greatness. What you do is you find your humility. Your humility is found in your absolute neutrality. And you rest in that. You divest yourself into the neutrality. You allow yourself to think through every opinion about yourself. That is, I am good, I am bad, I don't get it, I am great. He says, humility is that you divest yourself of all of that, all of those opinions of self-talk, and you allow yourself to rest in total neutrality and total humility. He says this doesn't mean that you cut off your thinking ability. Oh, no. He says when you let go of the smoke screen of judgment about yourself and others, when you let go of that smoke screen, then what you are left with is true reality. True reality. And you get the idea of how to move, where to do, what to do, where to do. He says you get that from that soul space. It comes to you from the source of your neutrality. He says it comes to you as you move into the neutrality, which only comes with true humility. This is not humility to another person. This is not humility to a dogma. This is not humility to the ways that other people have taught or that you think. Yogi Bhajan's every breath was to take us to this place. Near the end of his life, he said, I have taken you to the door of your soul. The rest is up to you. So now, please relax this true humility, with true humility, into that place of great, shouldn't even say great, just simple neutrality. Feel the breath? Okay, now as you do this, there is somebody who we can hear a man's voice in the background talking. If that's you, please press *6, and that will mute you. Keep up the breath. He says, please take very good note of how you feel, how you see the world. He says, it's very important that you do not go into a meditative state where you are oblivious to everything else, where you are cut off from seeing what's right in front of you. So he says, please, when you do this, open your eyes. Open your eyes and feel yourself in that place of total neutrality, from which utter wisdom arises, wisdom perhaps that you never could even have thought of or made up. And please bring together what you see as the world in this total space of your presence, of your neutrality, of your humility. He says, enjoy with it. If you see other people, he says, understand that you are joined at the core, at the all-pervasive light. Understand that. He says you judge in order, supposedly, to keep yourself safe. He says, now we are letting go. We are letting go to allow the greater force, that is the infinite, to keep you safe. To allow the infinite to take you where you need to go. To allow the infinite to take you where you need to go. That is to serve, to be present, to carry out this destiny, to vacuum and dust, to fix things around the house, to be kind and loving to your family, and allow the wisdom to flow through you. You are in the process of uniting. You are in that very dynamic process of uniting. Open, open. Good. And in this process, allow your identity of who you are, who you have been, allow that identity of who you have been to allow this understanding of who you are. Allow the understanding of who you are. That opening, and allowing yourself to relax, in this presence, as this presence, understanding this total light, being humble to this total light that flows through you. You are one. As you are in this light, you are one. As you are consciously in this light, you are one. Have the blessing, have the knowing. You are the presence. Now, in this incredible wisdom that comes through you, please allow yourself to hear or to understand a wisdom that is flowing through you now, some wisdom. that is important for you to hear? Please allow yourself to hear or even feel or just know this wisdom that is flowing through you now. He says, this is your destiny. He says, why not relax and be it all the time? Relax and be it all the time. Good. Feel that wisdom, know that wisdom. Write it down, please. Write it down. Good. Good. Okay, so now, he says, now keep up that big hug for the big earth. Keep that up. He says, and right now we are going to ask each one to tell us what wisdom, the great, he says, the great light, the great unknown that is known to you. Allow yourself. He says, please let us know one by one. He says, okay, we're taking volunteers. Who is first? Rahmane? Rahmane, are you with us?
Yes, I am with you. A lot to say. The wisdom was that to use trauma in any way that it shows up for the greater healing of the people. I was thinking, I was very glad that Baba Siri Chand clarified that we do not need permission to do heart breath for someone. Because when Lucinda was talking, I was feeling how important it would be for me to send this little girl heart breath. But I didn't know if that was kosher or not. And he clarified that.
Good.
Excuse me. And also in a more close-on situation, we had a trauma with our little goat co-op here, and a dog attacked a baby goat, and I went the route of using a natural healer, and one of the co-op members who's just been really furious and avoiding me, and the whole energy of the co-op has shifted. And in the case of the little girl that
so, excuse me, were you doing heart breath for her?
I was doing heart breath for her, and so I felt that the trauma of the situation would be a healing for people, for the greater people, and also for the little girl that Lucinda mentioned. She was very much present with me, and seeing that as we do heart breath for her, so she can come into her healing, I was actually seeing that at a certain point she would realize how Lucinda had been instrumental in her healing and would ask for a reversal of the court decision to take away her healing, her teaching license. And so she would be reinstated, and it would be a public exposure of the whole situation in a way that would promote healing coming through teachers.
Well, that would be wonderful. But I will say that when you do heart breath, you may have an intention, but allow the greater light to come through you, so that the greater, the greater process will occur in even a greater way than we can understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be a wonderful thing if it happened. But it's just heart breath to relieve everybody, to open everybody.
Yeah, it was just a vision to see how it can do exactly what you said, have effects that are more beautiful than we could even have imagined.
Yeah, good. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who's next to share the wisdom?
Ranjit, I could share.
Oh, good. Welcome, dear.
Thank you. I felt the heart breath today was more physical than I had ever experienced it before. Usually it seems like it's more ethereal, you know, sending it to someone, and today it actually felt physical. So
cool.
that was something new and different for me. And
wonderful.
then I heard you are grace, you are the blessing, and wait in patient kindness.
Delightful. Now, does this make sense to you?
Yes. Yes.
And it fits right in your life, huh?
It does.
Good. Will you say it again, please?
You are grace, you are the blessing, wait in patient kindness.
Wow. Wonderful. And everybody else, you know, everybody listen to each one's wisdom, and they are a call to each one.
I also liked there was something that Baba Siri Chand had said, and it made me look at compassion completely different when he said that compassion was being totally present. So that when you're with that person, being compassion was just your complete presence when you are with them. And that was very profound for me today.
Oh, good. Oh, good. It's kind of fun to get a new slant on things, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, dear.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Ranjit.
Hi, Hargo Bend.
I'd like to share something.
Yeah.
Yeah, what came to me was that in the small space in our heart where we do heart breath from, that all information that is needed is contained there, and that part of us is eternal.
Wow. Cool. So how does that affect you in your life?
It lets me know that I can use heart breath along with making any of my decisions. So whatever I have to make a decision about, I can use heart breath in that, and the answer is going to be there in my heart. It's not in my brain.
How cool. Good. Well, thank you. We have all got a new look on how to make decisions. Thank you, dear.
Yes, dear.
Saddam.
Saddam.
It's Padam Dion.
Welcome, dear. Are you still in New Jersey?
I'm still in New Jersey until tomorrow morning. Beautiful, green, lush, pleasant New Jersey.
Oh, wonderful.
My first time here. It's beautiful. Well, a couple of things. Number one is the language and the phrases that Baba Siri Chand was using today. I would have sworn he was listening to my thoughts and my prayers a couple of hours ago.
Maybe he was. Maybe you were listening to his.
He was. I'm sure he was. We're buddies.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the great thing is that it's all one breath. The other one is that on the Saturday when it was the equinox, I did something with the heart breath, and I'm realizing now it's something I can do every day. I don't have to do it just on equinox or solstice, which is a combination heart breath with earth breath, connecting the energy breath of the heart to the earth as well. I don't know how to explain it, because I did that on Saturday, and it felt absolutely wonderful. It's been very recuperative here, and I'm sure that every little thing that I do helps. And on the little wisdom that I got was it's a bit more personal, but maybe not. It was a sense of acceptance and forgiveness, because on some level, we're all bodhisattvas, but on some level we're all human, and there was a sense of this part of this deep healing I've been doing for over a year now, but especially during my journey. The sense of some real painful parts of self hide behind spirituality. And spirituality.
Wow, is that an important thing or what?
Right, it's like spirituality can become like a material goods, and hiding like a cloak. I heard the word cloak. And it was also the idea that how I used it to defend myself and to hide myself there in unconscious ways. And I'm not saying that all of it was like that, but I felt like I'm at that place where I no longer have to defend or hide or explain or even say anything. I can just be quiet and be with me. And it's a sense of self-forgiveness and acceptance. So it was personal, but at the same time, I feel, why not share it? I'm amongst friends here. So thank you. And thank you for reminding me of heart breath, because I do forget. I honestly forget. I need to be doing it 24/7.
Yeah, make a big sign.
Yeah.
Well, that's a wonderful thing that you brought up. What I've been noticing recently is that people use a veneer of spirituality sometimes in order to control others. And in other words, I am the teacher, you are the idiot, or whatever. So I'm very happy you brought that up. Good. Thank you so much, dear. I appreciate it. Okay, now who's coming next? Is Hadi Das on here today? Okay. Who else? Lucinda, would you like to share?
I just had the message that I am a child of God.
How wonderful. What does that mean to you?
That I've always believed that we're all children of God, but I needed to personalize it.
Ah, how delicious. How does that make you feel?
Loved.
All righty then.
Comforted.
Oh, how precious.
I experienced that a lot when I was in prison. Heart breath really was my salvation in prison.
God bless you, dear. You're such an inspiration to us in that. Just total inspiration. And here she is, a child of God.
Satnam.
Satnam. Totally loved. And that's what happens when you relax. Relax into this presence. It is relaxing into the lap of God, basically. Or the arms of God.
I felt the arms of God enfolding, surrounding me, just loving me, comforting me.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And I felt very safe.
That's important.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, dear. Now, who else can share? Let me ask you, can Tomas share? Rachmani, can you put Tomas on?
Yes.
Hello, Siri Gian.
Hi, Tomas.
I felt that the universe was always pure in its expression, spontaneous expression. And I am part of the universe. And that purity and humility are interlinked.
Humility and what are interlinked?
Purity.
Purity.
Yeah.
I believe you're right. What a blessing, dear. What a blessing. Did you feel that in yourself?
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Oh, it is definitely my happiness. Okay, anyone else?
I just want to add that the title to one of Tomas's poems is Purity Ensures Security.
I love that. I love that. Listen, can you tell everybody how to get his book if anybody wants to get it?
Yeah, just email me.
Okay, say your email address.
RAHTOMAS@gmail.
Okay, gmail.com. That's RAHTOMAS@gmail.com. It's well worth it, guys. He has wonderful poems and pictures and drawings and stories.
Journal entries, yeah.
Journal entries, yeah. Delightful.
And we sell it just at cost.
Oh, and what is that?
The cost is $10 and then whatever the postage is. It says $15 on the back, but we just sell it for our cost.
Uh-huh. Well, that's certainly worth it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how wonderful to be with everybody today. And Baba Siri Chand is again saying, big hug for Big Earth. Do that now. This is one great big group hug for Mother Earth. Using heart breath, of course. And now sing this beautiful song to each other, to everybody you know who needs it, and to everybody involved with Mother. And that's a lot, okay? In your humility and in your purity. Inhale, please. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love around you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. Inhale. Sa. And please bow to the holiness that is you, that comes through you. Oh, yes, accept it. God bless you all. Talk to you in a week. Have a wonderful week with heart breath, with your purity.
Salam.
Satnam.
Satnam.